No one saw this coming. Not Elon Musk, not Wall Street, not the trillion-dollar electric vehicle industry. But somewhere deep inside Honda's secretive R&D labs, it just happened. Something that wasn't supposed to leak. Something that could wipe out the very foundation of EV dominance overnight. There was no press conference, no flashy reveal, just a quiet demonstration behind closed doors in Tochigi, Japan. A single prototype. No full electric drivetrain, no plug-in charging, no range anxiety, just a self-generating hybrid system. And within 48 hours, the shockwave had already begun. 17 billion in EV stock value gone. Tesla staggered, Rivian plunged, Panasonic went red. Because what Honda's CEO allegedly unveiled isn't just a new engine. It's a direct threat to everything the electric revolution was built on. No superchargers, no dependency on grid infrastructure, no rare earth metals. Just a lightweight, high-efficiency hybrid unit that charges itself as it drives. No range limit, no lithium mines, no overloaded power grids. Just a closed-loop system that rewrites every rule. Sources inside the room described the moment as surreal. One executive stood in stunned silence. Another broke decades of protocol and applauded for 6 minutes straight. In Japan's famously stoic boardrooms, that isn't excitement, that's a seismic event. Because if this tech is real, and early leaks say it is, then the future doesn't belong to batteries. It belongs to hybrid autonomy. So before this gets buried, before the lobbyists scramble to shut it down, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us. Because what you're about to hear may be the beginning of the end for electric cars. Forget everything you thought you knew about hybrids. This isn't the Insight 2.0. That car used dual motors, a small battery, and basic regenerative braking. It was efficient, yes, but limited by outdated architecture. This new engine isn't that. This is self-charging hybrid combustion. Honda has figured out how to create a closed-loop hybrid engine that generates its own electric power through high-efficiency combustion without ever needing to plug in. The result? A roaring high-performance drivetrain that delivers extended range, instant torque, and no dependency on charging stations. But here's the truly radical part. The engine doesn't rely on external charging. It eliminates it. Using a proprietary multi-phase energy converter and a dual-mode thermal electric feedback system, the vehicle converts excess engine heat and kinetic energy into usable electrical current in real time. That's right. While driving, you fuel it with standard petrol, and the hybrid system recycles and amplifies energy that would normally be lost to heat and friction. How efficient is it? Around 5 liters per 100 kilometers, with the electric assist cutting fuel burned by over 40%. No range anxiety, no overloaded power grids, no dependency on lithium. Just pure mechanical electrical synergy. And yes, Honda says it works in extreme climates. From desert highways to sub-zero mountain roads, there's no need for fast chargers or smart home units. You could theoretically run this across continents without ever stopping to plug in. So why haven't we heard about this until now? Because this engine is not new. In fact, Honda started building it 17 years ago under a top-secret program called Project HX Prime. The idea was sparked in 2008, right as the world's focus shifted to lithium-ion EVs. Honda was already a pioneer in hybrid systems, but they saw something others missed: the coming infrastructure choke of full electrification. So they began working in silence on a next-gen hybrid platform, one that didn't rely on superchargers, mining, or foreign supply chains. By 2012, Project HX Prime had working prototypes, but suddenly, it vanished. No press release, no funeral, no leaks, just silence. Insiders claim it wasn't technical failure that killed it. It was pressure from oil giants, EV lobbyists, and even rival automakers deeply invested in battery tech. EV startups were gaining momentum, and a hybrid breakthrough like this would have threatened too many supply contracts and regulatory deals. So Honda shelved it. The engineers were reassigned, many to the more politically palatable Clarity Fuel Cell project. Hydrogen fuel cells were seen as safer, more manageable, easier to regulate, easier to control. But the world changed. By 2024, headlines were filled with EV battery fires. Power grids buckled under charging demand. Lithium mining scandals erupted across Africa and South America. And suddenly, Honda's board saw something they hadn't seen in a decade: an opportunity. Project HX Prime was revived in early 2025, and this time they weren't starting from scratch. They dug up the prototypes, 3 vehicles locked away in a temperature-controlled vault in Tochigi Prefecture. Updated with modern components, the new testbed hit the road within 5 months, and what it delivered shocked even the engineers who built it. The vehicle accelerates from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, faster than the Civic EHEV and on par with many EVs. Its top speed is 180 km per hour, with no torque drop on uphill climbs. Fuel efficiency? A jaw-dropping 760 kilometers on a single tank, with no external charging, no plug-in port, and no grid dependency. And the refueling process? No high-voltage charger, no range calculator, just a quick pump stop under 3 minutes. Unlike EVs, you don't need to wait hours for a recharge. There's no range anxiety. There's no battery degradation over time. Even more shocking, maintenance is simpler than on a gasoline engine. Honda's engineers claim wear and tear rates are 42% lower than comparable combustion engines. Why? Because the hybrid engine runs cooler, cleaner, and regenerates power through precision-tuned internal feedback systems. There's no constant deep cycling, no lithium stress fractures, no dependence on ultra-pure battery chemistries. What started as a buried science project from the 2000s may now be the biggest existential threat the EV industry has ever faced. And what happens next could send shockwaves through every carmaker, every miner, every battery startup on Earth. Because the moment this hits mass production, everything changes. And as of this moment, Honda has already begun internal testing on multiple production-ready variants. No one was ready for the tremor Honda sent through the electric vehicle world, not even Tesla. Because if what's in this engine is real, then the entire EV supply chain, the lifeline of an industry worth over $1 trillion, just got hit by a silent, invisible tsunami. Inside Tesla's Giga Nevada, panic quietly set in. Battery modules, once seen as the core of sustainable transportation, were suddenly obsolete. Lithium no longer critical, cobalt and nickel irrelevant. That $4 billion Panasonic battery plant in Kansas? A ticking time bomb of stranded capital. Executives from Lucid, Rivian, and even legacy titans like GM were reportedly summoned into closed-door meetings less than 24 hours after the prototype leak. The whispers were the same in every boardroom. If this hybrid engine is real, we're done. It wasn't just the materials, it was the infrastructure. Thousands of charging stations across the US, the entire supercharger network rendered unnecessary. Recycling startups that bet their futures on dead lithium cells were already slashing staff. They saw the writing on the wall. You don't recycle what you don't use. And just as the industry began to comprehend the technological quake, the numbers started trickling in. This wasn't some sci-fi prototype requiring rare earth elements and graphene batteries. The total engine cost, $1,320, less than one-third the cost of a standard EV drivetrain. No massive battery packs, no high-voltage inverters, just a compact ICE hybrid combo, an ultra-efficient regenerative core, and a supercapacitor system the size of a lunchbox. The operating cost? A staggering 0.8 cents per mile. That's not a typo. Compare that to the 3.2 cents per mile for most EVs, already far cheaper than gas. And the economics just went nuclear. Even factoring in full vehicle production and energy sourcing, the lifetime emissions of this hybrid-powered car came in 78% lower than the greenest Tesla, including manufacturing. And then came the kicker: break-even point. 1.4 years. That's how fast an average user would recover the entire premium through fuel savings. After that, it's nearly free transportation indefinitely. So what kind of magic was buried inside this thing? At its core is something engineers once called impossible: a thermal regenerative piezoelectric drive. Using high-frequency mechanical vibrations and exhaust heat recapture, it generates and stores energy continuously as the vehicle operates. No plug-in, no external input, not stored, not grid-fed, not vulnerable to outages. The combustion engine runs at peak efficiency while the system harvests motion, heat, and pressure to feed a dense supercapacitor array that stabilizes current and powers all onboard systems. Cold start verified at 20 Celsius, meaning it works in winter. Emissions? LAPA verified trace vapor, near zero CO2 output. No battery waste, just warm air and a few wisps of steam from the tailpipe on cold mornings. That's it. And perhaps most critically, there's no plug, no charger, no lithium dependency. The engine generates, stores, and recycles power as it drives, like a portable energy loop that turns motion itself into propulsion. So why isn't the world cheering? Because some very powerful people are furious. Within 48 hours of the leak, European Union regulators reportedly issued an internal directive to review all hybrid efficiency standards and synthetic combustion classifications. Translation: find a way to discredit it. Oil lobbyists in Texas, blindsided by a breakthrough that doesn't involve drilling, pipelines, or electric infrastructure, called the announcement a PR stunt, even as they privately began lobbying for emergency fuel tax protections. One U.S. senator allegedly drafted a bill proposing a thermal energy output tax for non-standard vehicular propulsion, a tax on engine efficiency. You can't make this up. In China, automotive R&D divisions began pulling archived Clarity hybrid blueprints from university databases. Reverse engineering has already begun. Japan's Ministry of Economy was reportedly warned that intellectual theft is now inevitable. As the news spread, Tesla made a shocking move, suspending all upgrades to the Cybertruck drivetrain. No official reason was given, but insiders claim it's because Musk himself wants to understand the hybrid system before committing to another round of electric innovation. Because if even 60% of this is real, it changes everything. Honda isn't just threatening the EV market, it's threatening the geopolitical foundation of the energy economy. No lithium, no rare earths, no grid dependence, just high-efficiency closed-loop hybrid power. That one phrase is enough to cause panic across industries, continents, and ideologies. Because this isn't centralized, it can't be monopolized. It can't be disrupted by power outages or global mining bottlenecks. And when technology makes independent propulsion the fuel source of the future, you don't just disrupt energy, you rewrite civilization. And the real battle? That's only just beginning. The first casualty: money. The financial quake didn't stop at Silicon Valley. Just hours after Honda's secret was exposed, oil markets hemorrhaged value. Saudi Aramco, the crown jewel of petroleum dominance, lost a staggering $41 billion in market capitalization in a single trading day. That's not a dip, that's a rupture. Across the globe, Norway's trillion-dollar sovereign wealth fund hit the brakes on its aggressive lithium mining investments. For years, they'd banked on EVs to be the future. Overnight, their crystal ball cracked. They began unloading shares in lithium startups before the media could even spin the story. Meanwhile, India quietly but deliberately began signaling interest in becoming a hybrid engine manufacturing hub by 2026. Leaked meeting memos suggest top officials met with Honda's Asia-Pacific division barely 48 hours after the leak, eyeing rural fuel optimization and military adaptation in the Himalayas. The Japanese yen, long battered by inflation, surged back to life. Honda's stock exploded 18.4% in one trading session, the biggest single-day gain in the company's modern history. And in a twist no analyst had forecast, Russia entered the chat. Kremlin insiders allegedly greenlit a fast-track program to adapt the engine for use in tanks, logistics trucks, and even submarine drone prototypes. But just as the world scrambled to catch up, more secrets leaked, and this time it wasn't from Honda. In early June, anonymous engineers rumored to be part of a fired subcontractor team posted full schematics of the thermal regenerative hybrid capacitor array on a whistleblower forum. Within hours, the documents had been downloaded over 4 million times. Japan's patent office confirmed the technology had been briefly registered in 2023 and then mysteriously withdrawn. Suspicion grew that Honda was forced into silence until now. Internal memos from research divisions in Tochigi and Hamamatsu revealed something even more audacious. Honda had already deployed 10 test fleets across 3 continents under dummy companies. One prototype was field-tested in rural Kenya. muddy roads, extreme heat, elevation shifts. The result, zero performance degradation. In fact, new lab reports confirmed that even in sealed environments like tunnels or underground garages, the hybrid system's emissions remained non-toxic. Just trace vapor and heat haze. No CO2, no nitrogen oxides, no soot, not even residual hydrocarbons. It was so clean, lab testers reported near zero emissions. Nothing you'd smell, nothing you'd see. But not everything is perfect. And now the red flags are starting to ripple through the system. Thermal efficiency, not water, is now the new oil. Regions already battling energy scarcity like California or parts of sub-Saharan Africa could face new geopolitical dilemmas. Experts warn that localized demand for ultra-efficient fuels and materials could outpace supply chains not built for this kind of distributed energy independence. We're entering uncharted territory where nations may clash not over power grids, but over who controls the next-generation drivetrain infrastructure. That's not all. The engine's core system requires corrosion-resistant alloys and custom PZT, piezoelectric, materials, bumping up initial manufacturing costs by an estimated 15%. Some metals used aren't rare, but they are niche, and the global supply chain isn't ready. Insurance agencies are reportedly baffled. One source claims that underwriters can't categorize the engine under EV, ICE, or hybrid classes. It's a regulatory no man's land. Municipal governments may even begin to cap fuel distribution credits or impose thermal efficiency thresholds to avoid destabilizing existing transit infrastructure. And if that happens, EV infrastructure upgrades, chargers, substations, battery backups could be halted permanently. Why build for a powertrain that just got leapfrogged by hybrid resonance and heat reclamation? The storm isn't over. In fact, it's just starting. Honda is expected to go fully public with the hybrid engine at the next Tokyo Auto Show, not as a concept, but with full-scale production timelines. Initial rollout models may appear in Asia and the Middle East first, where EV adoption lagged due to infrastructure issues. Now that delay looks prophetic. And what about Elon Musk? So far, silence. No tweet, no meme, no press conference. The man who's commented on every world event from Dogecoin to deep state conspiracies hasn't said a word about the engine that could render Tesla's entire mission obsolete. Insiders say Cybertruck production upgrades were quietly frozen pending review. But other automakers aren't waiting. Leaks from Detroit and Seoul suggest that emergency meetings are already underway, with some companies requesting government bailouts just to pivot toward next-gen hybrid propulsion. As for Honda, they're not slowing down. A roadmap was quietly submitted to the Japanese Ministry of Economy last week. The target: 1 million hybrid engines per year by 2027. This isn't just the end of electric as we know it. It's the reset button for the entire global auto industry. From Detroit to Dubai, from charging cables to cobalt mines, everything is now hanging by a thread. The revolution won't be televised. It will be unleashed with the turn of a key and the hum of a regenerative hybrid engine. If this is just the beginning, you won't want to miss what comes next.